So what is Tap to Donate? Some people call it contactless donation. Donation, though, implies charity, and I actually want to take it away from just not just charities, but how it could be used for schools, how it could be used in libraries, things like that. So Tap to Donate is the word I use, and it's a simple way of tapping a standalone device. This isn't about chip and pin and paying for things with a contactless box in a shop. Many companies offer this. We've got a nice summary at the end for this, and they can be portable or static. So they can be fixed in a cathedral or in a library or somewhere, or they can be handheld devices. I'll show you some pictures in a minute. I think pictures work better for explaining these things. And they're obviously, they don't require a human operator. Payments can be tracked, and analysis, average donations. One of the suppliers I was talking to yesterday can do some really clever stuff with, what's it called? Where you also a gift aid as well. So let's see some pictures in a minute. But why is it popular? Why do we need to consider this? It's because people aren't carrying cash anymore. I don't know about yourself, what you've got in your pocket at the moment, but people aren't carrying cash. Payments are not being made by cash anymore. It's plummeting. And by 2026, it's not that far away. We think only 1 in 5 payments will be made with cash. And also the money itself is devaluing. So if you put £1 in a charity box 20 years ago, great. Put £1 in a charity box now, it's worth probably about half that. We haven't got Jane, our finance people, who should tell me straight away. £5 donation, worth a bit more in the past. It devalues each year with inflation. And we're seeing more things with mobile, with Apple Pay and stuff. If you've got your phones with you, I use Apple Pay. It's just more and more popular. And the reality is the younger generation carry their smartphone. It is their payment device. So we need to keep up with these trends. And so some of you may have seen these types of things. Let's have some pictures. So this is a classic on the left side. I don't know if my cursor shows or not, but an emergency appeal, sort of thing you can put in a cafe, a library somewhere. I was talking to a supplier recently, and they said they're trying to negotiate a Costa, so that these sort of things are by the till for whatever Costa's appeal would be at the time. People can just tap £3. It's a fixed amount. Tap, done. And I think that's just nice. The guide dogs here as well. I think it's an American version, but the same thing. $3. Cute little puppy. Everyone loves a cute little puppy. Tap, job done. And so very quick. You don't have to rummage around in change. You don't have to break it. You don't want to give £20. You don't like them that much. But you want to give £3, fine. But so it's a very easy thing to do with your phone and with the contactless thing. But they can be mobile. This is an example of one from the lifeboats, just doing high street donations, and you just tapped it for £2. Off you went on your business. You could also adjust it to donate more, and they basically, where his hand is, he can then press up and down, plus or minus, up to £30, as you know, with contactless, how much they'd like to donate. But very quick, very easy, little battery pack in it, just carry it around, tap, and make that donation. Some of them also are more innovative, like this is a church scheme, one of the suppliers do. And so there's the church bowl going around. You can put your coppers in, you can put some notes in there, or you can do this £5 donation. I believe there was a plus and minus as well on that, so you could change it, but it was defaulted at £5. Surprising how many people will just do that. Is this making sense so far? Let's see some more pictures. Pat and Tap. I love this one. So this is the Blue Cross, a pet rescue charity. They had it tied to the dogs. They take a cute dog around the high street, tap, and so they were using Pat to Tap, or which I think was quite a clever little marketing idea. And you can see this is more than just the money it raises. It's conversations, it's engagement, it's column inches in newspapers, it's social media content. The power of this sort of stuff is far more than just the donations themselves. What have we got next? Oh, here's another dog doing the same thing. That unit, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little bit on the side. I'd like to have seen it up on the top there, but I guess you stop to stroke the dog, have a little cuddle, talk to the owner, or the handler and make your little donation. But also, they can go through glass now as well. There's some, because contact, the whole point is not actually contact, is it? Contactless. So some of them are capable of being in windows. So this is Cancer Research UK. They put it in their shop window, and there you could tap to donate to, and it was a £2 donation. Amazing how many people there. I think TPAS have been testing this in Cardiff Queen Street somewhere, or one of the side streets there. It's amazing how people do it, just general shopping during the day, and also how many drunks and people out in the town, yeah, tap, tap, you know, make a donation. So it can be in a shop window as well, which I think is interesting, or in a foyer or somewhere like that. You need certain equipment to do that, but interesting idea, do you think? And it's not just about charity giving. And I think that's really important when I looked at this subject. Some of the big charities are already doing this type of stuff, but it can also be like this example was, did you enjoy this free exhibition? Please support us. Tap. I think again, it was a £3 on the way out. £3 seems to be a magical number at the moment. You're testing. But yeah, did you enjoy this free event? Did you enjoy this free gig? It could be anything. You're running in your community, school. It could be you tapped on the way into a school fundraiser or something, you know. Nice little unit in a display stand. And so I think there's a scope for this, and it avoids all the cash handling and things. And there's more examples of them. Certainly museums and churches seem to be getting on board with this. I think on the left is Barrington Court. Don't know where that is, but they've invested in a nice little unit. So you can see there coins and notes in the top, goes into a secure unit. It's National Trust, is it? Yeah. Or contactless donation of £3. Same with Durham Cathedral there, cash in the top, contactless donation. And I think, I can't remember, the last one was a lifeboats or something, dogs. But you can see these standalone units, they have a power supply or a battery in it, or main supplied. And there we are at the end of a free event. You're cutting down on your labor costs and staffing, and people also don't have to have a conversation with anybody. They can just do it in their own time. So it can be used by any organizations, large or small. All you've got to be is qualify for card payments. If you can process a card payment, you qualify. They've been used by a lot of the big charities who have professional fundraisers, as say TPAS, trying it in Cardiff. What they noticed was the NSPC, in this example, I think it's really important, is over and over in every case we've seen, is that the average donation is always higher. So in this case, it was £3.7 compared to a £1 coin in spare change. And so you're looking at triple donation per time. And I think that's important. And as you get to a point where people aren't carrying enough cash with them, or even if they have some cash, it might be a note or something they don't want to give, £20. Therefore, you're there to capture that market. And therefore, a lot of people testing this. So let's have some case studies. Is again, a hospice, they made a little unit with a tap to donate on it, this creative cottage. It was put in a foyer somewhere and people could just tap, and it doesn't say the amount on there, or at least my £3, doesn't it? Right on the roof. Sorry, I'm missing that. So, but you can get the concept of that, yeah. There's the Blue Cross again, tap to donate, £2. They can speak to the human if they wanted to give a different amount. And it was a nice way of starting a conversation, starting the brand, and fundraising. And as I say, a larger donation than they would with cash donations. There's TPAS as well. Again, through the window, £3. And it's publicity, isn't it? Could you take over somebody else's shop window for this type of stuff? For a period, a pop-up shop, something that was closed, a vacant unit. Landlord might be quite interested in something like that. People would treat it with more respect. You're not going to fly poster over some TPAS window unit, are you, in an empty shop? So you might find that some landlords will be very sympathetic to that type of stuff. And there's your contactless plate. On the left, you might see there is a Twitter post. This was me. This is what started this. I was in Milan, as you do, for a wedding, and there I was rummaging around for some euros for buying a candle, and I noticed this contactless thing. So it was €2, tap, light a candle, and I was like, wow. And that's what really got me interested in this. It was an easy way of making that donation. So the Church of England have been installing these. I think I was talking to somebody yesterday, a supplier who has got a contract for Westminster Diocese, I can't pronounce the word, but the churches of Westminster area, and yeah, contactless choirs. So carolers in Chiswick who are now taking contactless payments. Imagine that, you're knocking on the doors, carols singing. Oh mate, I've got no money. Contactless. It's actually very. Isn't that in Gavin and Stacey at Christmas or something? Anyway, contactless carolers. But it's a good place for, as I say, if you're dealing with the public, easy way of getting donations. So what are the benefits? As we said already, return on investment. High return on investment, much higher than cash donations. Reputation, you know, you don't know where the cash donations have come from, your audience, you could profile, opportunity for branded messages as well. And that reporting afterwards, you know, even collecting gift aid and stuff, and security, you know, theft, having physical people shaking tins and stuff like that. It just removes more obstacles, allows people to do it securely. You know, not having to worry about cash handling or the resourcing volunteers. Drawbacks. Well, there is a cost to these things, of course there is. You know, perceived high upfront costs. I'm going to tackle that in a minute as to what it costs, but it's that unknown, isn't it? Commissions could be from, as I say, in our research, and we are not experts. We just looked around and rang some people up and got some brochures and stuff. But we saw between 1.75 and 5%, you know, fee being taken on your donation. And it's that charging as well. We're in Wales, or most of you are on this webinar are probably in Wales. You're not always going to get internet coverage or Wi-Fi where you are. As I say, I spent a lot of time in North Gower, can't even get a phone signal, so never mind any Wi-Fi or 4G or something. You do need 3G, I think, is, but, and that's the same with the charging points and battery replacements, is something you need to consider. And obviously contracts, commitments, some of them you can buy the unit, some of them you can rent the unit. There's a number of different options for people. But I think what it boils down to me is that, have you ever, and anyone got any comments on this? I'd be interested, but have you ever not given a donation or bought something low value because you didn't have cash on you? I know Alice is here for Trevor Coming. I was in your Llandudno Wells office, and it was a little bookstall. And it was £1 or something. It was a book I wanted. Didn't have £1 on me. Didn't buy it. And of course I could have said, oh, I'll give it back later or whatever, but people never do they? Or I've been in a wedding where we wanted to put something in the bowl, and my wife was like, she's a bit tighter than I am. I've only got £20 on me. I'm not giving £20. Because you might have cash, but it's not the right type of, you know, unit. Like I say, or even worse, lit the candle or taken the book or whatever and promised you'll pay it back later. You know, this is where these things like a self-contained unit would really help. Making sense so far, everybody? Yeah. And there's another point around gift aid as well. This will be for more regular donors, sponsors, supporters, whatever you want to call them. They can register on an app or online, and then whenever they do tap, so like this is very good for churchgoers or someone going to a community group regularly, or it could even be a Keep Fit class. No, it wouldn't be for gift aid then, would it? Anyway, it's whatever you for a charity regular contact point, an event or something, they can tap, and that will pick up their gift aid thing, and the software then will make it in a format for HMRC reclaim. So my Donna is one that does that, and there's somebody really nice to talk to. I've got his details later in there. He's from Abergavenny, and if that's the type of thing you'd be interested in, he can certainly help you with that. So final point on advantages and disadvantages is that fear of unknown, you know. So, you know, how are we going to do this? Well, is this something we want to do? It's that, like any initiative we've ever done, any involvement as an organization, it's that. But it's also an opportunity not just to raise money, but promote your brand, your cause, and charge differently. This is an example of a care provider. We were providing a certain care service. There's that tap to donate, support our work. Nice standalone unit. I can't remember where it was now, but it was in a high contact. It was at a shopping centre or an airport or somewhere. Board. Oh, what's this about? Oh, I'll make a donation. So it's that. It's the risk of the unknown versus the opportunity to do something different. So in terms of getting started, I won't keep it much longer. You've got to establish your goals. What are you looking to do with this? Is it a short-term campaign, fundraising campaign like the guide dogs? You might be better than renting a unit, one of the things, versus a standalone in Durham Cathedral. It's permanently there, therefore you're probably better off buying the unit, spending a bit of cash on it, make a nice unit, and it can stand there for years until whatever technology comes along next. So it's that short term, establish what you're trying to do with this. Do your research. There's lots of different suppliers out there, different fees, different transactions, upfront, costs and things. Now, the document, to be fair, goes into a lot more about this. The practicalities. Say, if you're going to do this in North Gower, you're going to struggle. Well, then you're really not going to get the internet connectivity on it. Battery life, if it's a handheld type thing or a main supply, you could put it in the middle of Durham Cathedral. Well, where are you going to get the power to it? You might need to sit a certain place in the cathedral. Not that I know anything about electricity points in a cathedral. A number of users. How many of these do you want? If you're going to do a Queen Street campaign in Cardiff or Swansea or anywhere, Bangor, you might need 5 or 6 of these. Well, that's going to be a bit upfront cost. Track, improve. The great thing about this is that track analysis. How many donations did we get? What was the average donation value of Bangor versus Carnarvon? Time of day analysis. You can see, all of you probably got that data person who loves looking at this sort of stuff. Ours is called Jane. You could really start getting some better insight into how you attract donations, how you attract your fundraising. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Again, they don't have to be. This is a nice example. This picture here. So that is a fairly hireable unit, and all they've put is the card behind it. It's like a display unit. So effectively, just slot in your information there. It's a very easy setup cost for something like that. It's not the same as buying a big standalone unit like the cathedrals and stuff. So what provider is right for you? I can't go through that now. There is tables like this. Don't worry about being able to see the table. You probably can't. It's probably going to be a blurred and too much on there. This is all in here, as in which providers, setup fees, monthly transaction costs, purchase costs, rentals, all that type of stuff. We've done the hard work for you. Obviously, there's a caveat. It's only up to the point of research about 2 weeks ago. Things change, different providers, but it gives you a starting point. I hope that you might value that. And what about community groups? Because a lot of the examples I've given so far have been charities. This is very much the same for community groups, whether that's a school, library, the PTA of your local school, any type of fundraiser, gigs even. I can imagine even bands and concert venues using this. Most of the suppliers will all do the same. Donna, was saying applicable to any organization, non-charities. All the different suppliers here were very much interested. They sometimes vary the costs. If you're a proper full-out commercial organization and you just want, like, I don't know, if you were a music venue with no charitable status, nothing, you're just a music 10 feet tall in the news at the moment, and you had a tap to donate on their way out to support young bands. If it wasn't set as a charity, they might charge you a bit more, so the charges can be a bit higher. But the principle applies. Community groups, I guess political organizations, campaigning groups, lobbying groups, your support, whoever your supporters are, you could be doing this. So there is the document. I'll send this straight out, I promise you, to you all afterwards. Picture, there you are. And there's a lot more detail in there, as say, about the pricing and stuff. If you want to know more as well, I've mentioned Donna and Benedict. He's from Abergavenny. He's a leading person in London on this. I've chatted to him a couple of times now. He knows his stuff. They do more charity. They were set up as part of do more religious units, organisations, but certainly very useful guy to talk to. And we talked about this webinar today, and he was very much keen to talk to anybody who wants to look at this in more detail. So that's it, really. I don't want to keep you long. About questions, comments, thoughts. Just been useful? Is it rubbish? Not for you? Or can you think of an organisation that might benefit from it? As I say, I've talked to a couple of people who aren't even, not just charities, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to say, but people like Contactless, I've got friends who works for them. They were quite interested for when they have get-togethers or a rally or a campaign or something, get donations from people that way. Good, yeah. Community groups, I think, is definitely one of the ones that I think we could look at. So you might use an umbrella charity like Cotrefi, but look at how it could be used in the community. I think, yeah, I'd love to talk to you about this in more detail. I say I'm not the expert on it, but I'd love to be part of it. I'm talking to a small community group. They have a lot of events with the public, and that idea of being able to tap to free events, but keep supporting our work, tap, I think it would work really well for them. Comments as well. Howis, yeah, sounds good, way forward. And I think you're right. I think for community groups and stuff, I'm more than happy to help if we want to write a business case or something. Anyway, I think it's just an interesting way we've got to take this thing forward. Oh, there are, obviously you can't see them now, but if you want to see the slides, clicks, articles, things like that, case studies with much more detail in the case study stuff. If you were putting up something together. And there's my details on there as well, but I imagine most of you know how to get hold of TPAS, or there's my Twitter handle, Alice. So yeah, make your forums semi-autonomous. I think that would be, certainly if they're running events, contact with the public, good way of making some fundraising, and you could have one unit going out to different places. And the software would allow you to know, well, that Saturday it was in Porthmadog, or that Saturday it was in Wrexham, and the local group could then get that attributed benefit, but you're only using the one unit or so. So yeah, hope this has been useful. I think we'll just call it a day there. Any of you want to talk to me offline, you can probably tell I'm more than happy to. Thanks for coming to this rather niche webinar.